go. We're gonna start at the same time now. Have to see it's gonna be in this first chest, but Uncle may not have a sword here. Got a heart container to start off too. They could have a variety of different things from the Uncle. Either the Cane of Samaria, Cane of Burna, a full set of bombs, a bow, a hammer. There's quite a few different possibilities here. Fire Rod is another one. What do you think we get in here?
We're going with bow, and really the randomized sword start has made it's brought a lot of interest to the early game back to this. You know, with the standard mode, you kind of had a general path, but every different weapon changes things dramatically.
Just like that hammer there. What do you think about that?
Hammer gives you a lot of fun progression. You know, it checks off a lot of things that you're going to need later. It's just nice to find this really early, get it out of the way.
And I think this is starting to give him lots of love to begin with. Early health is always good in the early going, because, I mean, there's 3 hits and it's over with a lot of enemies, so...
Yeah, the tempered sword damage really adds up quickly if you can just figure out how to make that very awkward hitbox work for you.
Yeah, and being able to have that is such a boon. You can use it on so many enemies. Good, nice use of it. Ending that Moldorm 1 fight pretty quickly.
It's my preferred weapon on Moldorm, but my success rate on Moldorm is not very high, so maybe I should rethink that.
Nah, we all know Moldorm isn't very nice, but that's for a little bit. And nice smack from Matt, and getting the mirror. Look at that.
Well, our predictions of a fast seed might be coming true here very quickly.
It certainly kind of gives credence that the Dark World's going to be a bit early on in the seed, in my opinion.
Get all those worries of Aghanim 1 out of the way.
Yeah, nobody wants to have Aga, but if you're gonna have Aga, at least hope for a Jet Aga seed, you know?
Is there such a thing?
I had one not that long ago, actually.
Oh, that's fun.
Rare but possible, and Cape, they're gonna be doing this in style.
Oh, speaking of Aga 1, that brings all the worries back.
But at least you don't have to be the one playing it right now, so no worries on your end, right?
That's very true. But Cape does give you some nice insurance on bosses later, too.
Blind, for one.
And even some Ganon strats if you're feeling really fun.
And Matt getting bold and killing the ball and chain guard first. Gonna see what's in Zelda's chest here, and... that's what's awesome about early mirror. It saves you a lot of time in this escape.
Oh, I never knew that. I've never had mirror in escape.
It's not something that comes up often, but it's come up once before, and it looked pretty darn cool. Probably shaves a good, like, 1 or 2 minutes off of escape, so that itself, we're gonna really be getting in the thick of it pretty quick here.
Yeah, that's going to be a record, not a record time, but a very, very good time coming out of the escape.
They may want to do a little farming for bombs, though, so they do check the back of escape.
Yeah, I don't want to go too fast, but with the hammer you can kill everything on sight, so you have a pretty good chance at finding one.
Speaking of which, it looks like our players just got one as we were talking about that, though the snakes haven't been very nice.
With the extra heart containers, though, you have a lot of insurance coming through escape.
And we get our first fetch quest item of the seed. We got the shovel.
It's kind of nice to get it at this point, because when you have it that early, you can route it in conveniently. It's later on when you get those fetch quests that they're really painful.
And that's why a lot of people don't seem to like them.
Especially if they're hiding on that pedestal.
Oh, you said the P word. I bet chat's getting all hyped up.
It's their favorite word.
I thought it was spadoinkle.
I've never heard that word before, so I've learned something new already today.
And we got the fighter sword in the back of escape. Very nice. Kind of been picking up a little bit on this one.
Aghanim is very in play right now. Let's see if Lumberjack Caves gives us any indication as to maybe why.
Not 100% indicator, but it definitely can tell. It can give you a good sense of direction. And we got out of escape about 5 minutes in. That mirror is showing us how much it cuts down, because usually it's about 7 or 8 from what I've seen in previous runs.
Yeah, that seems to be a roughly normal time, especially if you get a really unfortunate slow weapon.
Hopefully our runners will get some rupees, maybe from a tree pull or something. You definitely want to have 100 for the bottle vendor to route him in.
Yeah, that's the first really big rupee check, is those first 100 in Kakariko.
Oh, there's a pretty nice blue rupee pull there, so Matt's up to 50 at the moment.
Halfway there, so...
And we're gonna get a lumberjack check. Hello, Quake Medallion.
That could be very important.
Yeah, we still have no idea, folks. So that's gonna be that really is going to be interesting. I say it a lot, but seriously, this will be interesting. Do you need it? Do you not need it? 50-50 chance.
Having that information at this point is really nice, though. I remember my first race, someone held off in lumberjack check, which is a very viable strategy. You know, you save time, you can route it in later when it's more convenient, but man, I hate not having that information.
Yeah, same here. I always gotta route it in myself. Trojandude picking up the piece of heart there and is gonna get some bombs from the Thieves' Hut. So they're gonna be able to check some of the more important places in Kakariko there pretty quickly.
Yeah, that saves you from having to spend the 50 rupees on the bombs down in the south end of the village. You can save those for the bottle vendor.
Exactly, and rupees come into play so importantly, especially when the seed drags you over to Zora pretty early too, because you gotta have 500 for that one.
And drags is the right word for Zora. It's kicking and screaming over that way. You never want to.
Blue mail already, and blinds and flippers. What did I just say?
It's almost like you knew.
I know nothing. I just make guesses.
That was a very good guess, then.
Not too much otherwise from Blind's Hut, but that's still a pretty good haul right there.
The blue mail, I mean, that's always a nice insurance policy, especially with some heart containers early. If you get that early Dark World access, it's really gonna be appreciated.
Even if you don't, I mean, that's almost like adding like double your health bar.
More or less, exactly, yeah, unless you happen to run into some spikes, unfortunately.
Half magic early for them. Nice. Well, at least for Matt there. And ether. And powder.
Now the half magic is really nice because they have a way to use it.
Not a whole heck of a lot of progression, but kind of an interesting jumble of items here. Bottle vendor loves your patronage. And now time for Crazy Chicken Lady's Hut. You ever do the glitch with the chicken in there?
I've never successfully done that glitch. I may have attempted it in almost all of my runs.
It's pretty fun for everybody to see it when it gets done, so let's see if Trojan does it. Nope, disappoint. Unfortunately, our player's not getting a bottle, so they won't be able to check Sick Kid right away. Chat indicating there is a chance of soft locking during that chicken glitch, but personally, I haven't encountered it, so I'm gonna live life on the dangerous edge.
If you can't encounter it, it doesn't exist, right?
Right. Oh, Matt, good idea. He's got all the stuff he needs to check Batcave, so if Trojan doesn't do that, that could be an early advantage right there.
Oh, having the powder and the hammer this early definitely opens that up, and that's not a normal route into your first visit to Kakariko, so that's really smart play on his part.
Oh, Trojan remembers it.
There
and just some bombs.
not rewarded for the, but it was a good play regardless.
Indeed, I mean that's definitely some wise remembering of, hey, I got these items from our runners, so I'm sure there's a word for it, but not right now. But at least they got plenty of bombs. They won't have to worry about bombing some of the other places. You know, getting into Ice Rod Cave.
Mini Moldorm as well down in South Hyrule.
And just 5 rupees from the library.
Now, are you a fan of going to check the item first in race game, or just go get it blind?
I usually check it first to see if it's worth my time. It just feels like it's quicker. I think in this instance, though, they're both going to be going for it because we have a Master Sword already.
Ooh, that's a fun item to find there. Always nice to find those sword upgrades, even if you have to go a bit out of your way to get them.
So I see a cape, I see an early Master Sword. Is the seed hinting toward an Aga seed?
Oh, as soon as that lamp shows up, it's gonna be Aga all the way. This is definitely shaping up like an Aga seed.
Yeah, because we're not seeing a whole heck of a lot of progression from them. We haven't seen a Moon Pearl yet either. But then again, we haven't seen Mini Moldorm Cave or anything down in Southern Hyrule yet, so still a little early to call.
And I mean, really, we already have the hammer, so I suppose all we need is just the gloves to get Dark World access, so kind of 50-50 at this point.
That seems to be the early theme going on. And a big bomb upgrade. Not bad, I mean, early going is always nice to have more bombs, but it's kind of a dud nonetheless, you know?
You'd rather have that over the 5-bomb upgrade.
Yeah, the skip upgrade.
But it is not very useful or ever fun to find.
I guess better than a red rupee.
Hopefully we find not many of those, though, here.
They can find up to 28 of those here, and Matt using a good strategy there to not go in the water to slow him down a little bit. Not much of a time saver, but overall, every little bit can count.
All those little bits add up to drastically faster times, so always remember those little tricks.
And we just found the bow in Swamp right there. Look at that.
The bow doesn't unlock much right now, but it's very nice to have.
Absolutely, and even though Eastern is only a pendant dungeon, we got one crystal dungeon for Hera, and the others 2 are pendant dungeons, so that's pretty cool there.
I wonder if you find the lamp, do you make the play into Pod Eastern this early? Speaking of...
I personally do it if I can't think of anything else that would maybe house something, so it's still a viable play. It's got 3 items, and then of course you got Sahasrah's hut, which is 3 items, like 3 potential items in there alone.
Yeah, that's true. That's a lot in there, but between Pendant Eastern this early or Aga, what do you prefer?
I think I would rather just get the pendant if I had to. If I have to dip into it.
I think it depends upon if you find the Moon Pearl in Sahasrah's hut. Or potentially Ice Rock Cave, I guess.
Yeah, if I found the Moon Pearl, I'm gone, but Eastern's one of those things where if I can't really think of anything else to do, then I'll do it. But that's tend to what I save it for.
That makes sense, that makes sense. Let's hope this isn't a seed where we have Pearl on Pyramid. Because that would be very, very tricky to get to.
At least they don't have Pearl on Lumberjack, which I encountered personally once.
Yeah, that means you get the boots early.
Yeah, true. All the running around, though. And we had an Ice Rod Cave of it. Seemed like Hookshot. Now, I know some people don't like to go into Ice Rod Cave unless they absolutely have to. So it'll be interesting to see what Trojan does here.
I'm always worried I'll forget it exists if I don't get it right away, so I make the trek up there.
Oh, incorrect. It was a mini Moldorm Cave. Excuse me, with the bug catching net and the Cane of Burnout. Wow, how did I miss that?
There's Burna. Now we have both of the invincibility items, so a lot of bosses will be a lot easier as they play through the seed.
And they should be hoping for silver arrows, and then they can just like speed demon through some of these. Clever.
We'll have a crystal mire too, and then silvers make that much, much faster.
Absolutely. If that happens, a little something I call clear eyes right there. I think that's about the fastest thing you can have for Vitreous, and I mean, it cleared him out so fast the first time, I was like, wow. So, I say it a lot, but it's so true.
Oh yeah, it makes that fight something like 4 or 5 times faster, and you almost can't die.
And 50 more rupees from Ice Rod Cave, actually, and a saving quit.
Thinking about what choice to make here, I think.
And Matt, coming out of the Waterfall Fairy Cave, be interesting to see what was there since we didn't get a chance to see it.
Yeah, well, to keep a close eye when he opens up his inventory.
Vanilla heart piece on the ledge, but it looks like just based on the rupees, probably a nice little trove there.
Nice as in a lot. Nice, not so much. You don't really want it. Well, I suppose it does get you to Zora, though, so actually it's a good time for it. It's about the best time you'll get for rupees.
And speaking of rupees, we just got life lessons as Trojandude gets the Power Glove and the Moon Pearl. I think Agasside's kind of fading by the wayside a little.
It is, except we have to remember that it's got Quake, and that could rear its ugly head late in this seed.
And that's not going to be something our runners are going to want to find out. So pay close attention to what Misery Mire and Turtle Rock have.
Just going to be that little seed in the back of their minds going, just remember, don't forget about me.
I think I hear a little cackling in the background.
Might be egging him himself for putting Quake there.
And we have a first major route divergence here. Trojandude is going into Eastern, while Matt unfortunately wants to go into Death Mountain, but can't.
Oh, yep, you need your gloves to pick that rock up and can't flute above it.
Safety first, put on your gloves.
But fortunately for him, this will lead him to Eastern, where he's going to find the gloves and the pearl and what's ever over there. So it's actually going to be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, Eastern has 3 potential items you can find, so, and we've only found the big key so far.
Getting the big key early means you can open the chest right as you walk past and you don't have to circle back, which is also appreciated.
And
though it is full clear, it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly. So even if you have to full clear it for some reason, you have the red pendant, which may or may not come in handy if it does result in being a ped seed after all.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about coming back. It's just there, and it's basically a free item. And if our most knights have an item, then you're gonna get it anyway.
And Matt didn't look very happy about those power gloves being in the Sahadraless cave there.
But to speak to your route divergence, he is going straight back to Death Mountain. He did not want to dive into Eastern at all once he found them.
I can't say I blame him though, because you have a lot of potential openings for finding, for the chests in Death Mountain.
Oh, there's a ton of item locations. It's definitely a good option. I think both plays kind of make sense, and it's just going to be a matter of which one pays off in the end.
Yeah, because you got Paradox Cave with a 7 chests. You got Spectacle Rock, one with one inside, one outside. Spiral Cave, and you can always sneak into Spike Cave too once you have the right equipment, which they actually do now.
They do, with the half magic especially. They're gonna be, they'll be just fine on running through Spike Cave.
And heck, they could even routing going into the Dark World now with the Moon Pearl and go check out Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, having Mirror and Hammer and Hookshot all at the same time on your first trip up gives you some really cool routing options around Death Mountain that you don't usually get in your first time there.
And the old man with some thank you money.
Just a little tip. Appreciates it.
I would too if I was lost in a cave, but I think he's holding out, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, there's 28 big 20s all around the world. He's got to have more than one.
Oh, ho, ho, look at that. Trojandude finding the flute.
Oh, the flute is so important. And in a place that you... Oh, that's gonna... It gives him so many movement options.
I don't think it's going to hamper Matt too much because he's where he wants to be, but it's definitely going to come into play afterwards. And we have a Dark World check. Blue Pendant and Ice. Pod having the other red crystal dungeon, and pretty much everything else is on the table.
Matt can get a lot of places that he wants to go, but it'll be slower without the flute, and Misery Meyer needs the flute to get there. And what are the odds he goes back into Pendant Eastern to find that flute?
Probably not too high, and you're gonna need it to get into Meyer now, so it's gonna be required to dip into Eastern.
And it hurts because you were so close at that point when you were in Sahasra. But it could have had nothing, and it'd been a great play to leave too. That's the fun of Randomizer.
You never know what's gonna happen.
And I have not kept a very close track, but Armos Knights must have an item, or Trojandude wouldn't be finishing the dungeon, I can't imagine.
Nah, because I think with the mirror, with so many ways to get the heck out of there. Yep, there's our last item. Powered by rupees. And the disappointment of Trojandude. But hey, you know what? It's a red pendant. He's that much closer if it does turn out to be a pen seed.
And Trojandude has to be pretty happy finding the flute there. Yes, Armos Knights didn't have an item, but that trip paid off massively.
Absolutely. We found one item so far in Hair out of the two, so we're halfway down with that one. And there is another sweet use of the mirror right there.
I need to get Mirror early and start learning these cool tricks that these guys know.
A little luck is all it takes.
Trojandude going to activate that flute immediately, which is a very good idea. Give yourself that mobility as soon as you can.
Absolutely, and the Hyrule National Anthem will play as Matt goes to fight a Moldorm 1.
Maybe the National Anthem will give him some luck on this Moldorm fight.
Yeah, and if not, well... Oh, wait, yes. So we don't have to worry about that middle pit there.
3 perfect slashes brings down Moldorm.
And there's the compass. Really got the point there. But that brings us to our first crystal, actually, about 23 minutes in.
It does, but I think there's an item in the basement. I wonder if he's going to go check it. Yes, he is.
Yeah, at this early point, it does pay off to check. I always say that Peace of Mind is probably one of the best items you can have in this, especially in the early going, too. Because I have a feeling Matt may be kicking himself later when he finds himself skipping Eastern. Unless he goes to Pod and then routes going into Eastern back.
Yes, that would be a really smart play later, but since it's a pendant, if you're not looking for something, well, he'll definitely be looking for the flute because he won't have it. So maybe he will make that play. Though I want to know where you find these Peace of Minds in this game. I only find Peace of Hearts.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I think pretty soon they'll find themselves another aorta ventricle or something like that.
Hey, you gotta fill that heart container somehow.
Exactly, and Matt not opting for the coffee break.
It's always very appreciated in these longer seeds.
And
Fire rod!
Survey says fire rod. And so you're gonna have to dip into Hera's basement for sure in order to do this, because Skullwoods is a crystal dungeon too.
Yes, that well, as is Turtle Rock, so that fire rod is just super required.
As is that ice rod. There's a lot of stuff here for go mode this time around.
Fortunately, a lot of locations left to find these, so the seed could be nice to them, or it might not. We'll have to find out.
We'll have to see when they do a Turtle Rock check and or Misery Mire check at some point here.
Unfortunately, we're going to need to get the mitts. We're not going to be able to see a Turtle Rock check at this point.
That's a good point too. I almost forget about that.
I always think it's the... Well, I always in my head it's just you need some sort of gloves, but it actually is the mitts itself.
They gotta get their mitts on it. And Matt just finding some disappointment in Spiral Cave there.
There's always... That location's never yielded anything for me, and I always check it. And it seems like I never have boots.
But it's the one time you don't when it's going to turn from the long walk of shame to the long walk of awesome. And speaking of awesome, it's Paradox Cave time.
7 locations here. Let's see what they bring.
Mushrooms and bombs so far could turn out to be something so far. We'll see.
This seed really likes its fetch quest items.
I think so.
Unfortunately, not having the flute means you can't easily go to check it either.
Well, one of us two does, and I think Trojan here will be doing that shortly.
Oh.
Tempered Sword.
Well, those bosses that are about to come are going to be melting very quickly. A lot of them will be affected by that upgrade, maybe outside of Blind.
It's okay to lose your temper at the bosses with the Tempered Sword, so that's going to be nice for them. Speaking of bosses, here's Trojandude's Moldorm fight.
Don't get that poke. Oh, that was a good spin. Down.
Making short work of Moldorm 1. We'll have to see what happens with Moldorm 2 later on.
Yeah, both of our runners having very clean Moldorm fights.
Which is good, because even the best of players are going to fall to Moldorm eventually, so there's never any shame in it.
No, it just happens no matter how often you practice it, so it's always a huge sigh of relief to get that one on the first attempt.
They call him Trolldorm, and for a good reason.
Trojandude is making the play into the basement as well, so he's going to get that fire that's going to be oh so important later.
And we are seeing Matt take a dip into the Dark World more fully now.
Going up to Skull Woods first, it looks like, with that fire rod. This is a very good play. Tempered Sword will definitely make Mothula fall pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is because it's a pretty good way to route that in first anyway. There are 2 items in Skull Woods, so even if it is a pendant dungeon, it usually is pretty quick to snatch up the items and just go if you don't need to really be in there that long.
Yes, but we know it's a crystal dungeon, so we will want to finish it with our fancy shiny new Tempered Sword that we just got.
And speaking of shiny new things, we got a bottle.
Ooh, Sick Kid is now in Logic. Wonder when he's going to go check that. With the mirror heading down to Village of Outcasts is going to be a really convenient check.
Yeah, that'll be really nice this time around, because usually it's hard to route Sick Kid back when you find a bottle kind of that out of the way. So Trojandude picking up his fire rod.
I have to imagine we'll see him come over to Skullwoods as well. It's a really good play at this point. Once he finishes Death Mountain, of course.
Exactly. I mean, Skullwoods and then Thieves Town, they got their they really got their pick of the litter here. And then with Pod and Swamp, both Crystal Dungeons, there should be some pretty good hype in there.
Yeah, lots of locations in the Dark World to get to.
I've seen either Pod or Swamp really be a playmaker in most of the seeds. So it's going to be interesting which one it is and what they're going to find in there.
Fortunately, with this seed, they're both crystals, so you're going to go there anyway. Usually it is one of those two, and they're usually a pendant, it seems like.
Yeah, nothing stinks more than having a Pod or Swamp pendant, because it's so often, especially with their 5 and 6 items respectively in it, that something is in there. It's a high likelihood anyway you're going to jump in there.
But it's never fast, so you never... Like, it's never your first thing, but you're like, oh, I have to go do this eventually. But Matt's already made his way to the back of Skull Woods, so we're going to see what Mothula has here pretty quickly.
Definitely. Matt's going to want to be careful, though. It's kind of low health, and even with the blue mail, there's still plenty of things that could happen, especially with those hard-hitting Gibdos.
Yeah, those Gibdos melted really quick, though my favorite is to use the Ether Medallion and take them all out even faster.
That's a pretty sweet idea I never thought of. I like how you think.
Everyone uses Bombos, but it's so slow that they don't use it, but Ether kills Gibdos.
I'll be remembering this. Trojandude getting their tempered sword now, and Mothula time.
Mothula behaving at first, but now he's hiding towards the top. It can be really hard, but he brings him down really quickly.
Yeah, that was a pretty... That's what you want in a Mothula fight right there. Because Mothula hangs around the top too much. There's always that bug where it doesn't register the hit properly. So you want to make sure that Mothula goes down in more ways than one.
And he did that in an extremely fast pace. Oh, but yeah, there's one more item you gotta go check, and that chest is never fun to run to.
Yeah, it isn't. Some people opt to do it first, others do it last. What do you do?
I usually do it first, but I see the logic in doing it last now that I see how it plays out.
And just a map in there, unfortunately.
So that means the chest in the room behind the statue over there has an item in it. Which he will go check now, I would imagine.
Wouldn't it be a hoot and a half if it was Cane of Samaria?
Ooh, that would be nice.
It's kind of like, I want the Cane of Samaria for this, and 301 rupees inside for Trojandude. That's just what I kind of thought.
Yeah. I couldn't figure out the combination, but that makes perfect sense. Samaria would be an especially nice find at any point because it's one of those items that could very easily be on the pedestal.
Oh, absolutely. You want to have those. You want to have Samaria because you can't complete Myra without it.
Or Turtle Rock.
Or one of the other lesser-known uses is the fake mushroom glitch, or the fake powder glitch, excuse me.
Oh yeah, I always forget that it needs that. Like, I've even done it once without the cane and was wondering why it wasn't working.
Yeah, so basically you have to use the Cane of Samaria, and you have to activate it when you have no magic, and then quickly switch to the mushroom, and then try to activate the statue there, and boom. And speaking of boom, shield!
Sort of good to get, I guess. Got the last item, though, so you can clear out of Skull Woods. Trojan has paid his savings over to Zora and didn't get a whole lot for it.
A lot of disappointment. Life lessons are again at hand.
So it looks like Trojan's first play is going to be to Swamp, which is very interesting. Gets a Hype Cave check at the same time, so it makes a lot of sense.
Let's get hype for Hype Cave.
Or as I like to call it, Piece of Love Cave, after I got 5 pieces of heart once in here.
Maybe that was like the donation bin or something for Hyrule. I have no idea.
They just threw them in there and buried them so no one could find them.
Yeah, just like random transplant person. Like back alley transplants. And Hype Cave not delivering the hype too
Unless
much.
Trojan really likes the boomerang. That's the blue one, so it doesn't cause lag.
That's true. Would give a bad review on Yelp. 2 out of 10, though.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
And there's the big key in Thieves Town there. We're getting our first look at some of these items here that are in the first 4 rooms of Thieves Town. So those are always good quick checks right there.
Oh, absolutely. And getting the boss key, you know you're gonna find it in one of those 4, but it kind of builds up the suspension of what the other ones are gonna have.
I did unfortunately see what was in the first one though, but hopefully there's going to be an item in here now. Nope, nap. So they must have gotten an item first, but I didn't catch it.
Yeah, I missed it as well, unfortunately.
And here comes our swamp play. Like you said, good idea. I mean, he's got all the stuff to get it out of the way. There's 6 items in here to find. I mean, that's really smart thinking.
So, the real question here with Swamp is, do you do left side?
If you're
and
still,
when do you do it?
At this point, I would probably do it just in case, because it's just such a packed item density dungeon. Early big key.
That's really interesting, so you'll get to check the big key chest. This might be the time where you complete it without doing left side and see how many items are remaining after you beat the dungeon.
Clever use of the cape here to get through the hellway, and Matt is making easy work of what I've dubbed the Rattler Room.
You always take a bunch of damage in there, so having half magic with that cape means it's very easy to just spend a little bit. Oh, there's even 2 pots there. I didn't know that. Fill that right back up. No loss at all. No damage either.
Yeah, it's always wise to know what's in under those pots. So sometimes that can make a difference between living and dying in the rando dungeons.
And now these little crickets may look innocuous, but they do a full heart of damage with blue mail, so Matt has to be extremely careful.
Oh, we're careful. At least it gets to go back down anyway. Did he get the bomb? Did he get the bomb in though? Is what I want to know. If so, that could have very well easily been an intentional death.
Maybe, yes, but you'd have to go hit the switch again. I mean, it's a time loss, but he gets his heart, so I can see it.
There's only 10 arrows for one item there, 5 arrow upgrade in the other for in Swamp there, so nothing much there yet.
Yeah, we don't really want those arrows. But there's Samaria!
Oh my, Phantom Ryu, if he is watching, is probably going nuts right now.
Getting Samaria in that big chest, and still doing left side, so we're going to see a full clear Swamp Palace here from Trojandude.
Hey, at this point, it's wise, and we can definitely tell Swamp is doing some good stuff here.
Yeah, it's nice to see it pay off. Even though, yeah, it's a crystal, you're going to come here anyway, but it's still nice to find those items, especially ones that are that critical.
And it's nice and early too, so be able to apply that Cane of Samaria to a lot of different situations.
Oh yeah, all the little tricks will come out with it.
Such as Blind's Fight too, even possibly.
Yeah, but you have half magic and Burna. You can just basically invalidate the blind fight already.
And that's how we repay the monster for its puns.
The only unfortunate part about left side Swamp is it takes forever to check it. You feel like you have to, and you kind of do, but it's never fun.
I have a feeling too that's maybe another reason why Trojan was getting that out of the way, because it could have been just a gamble on, hey, maybe I can pick up an important item before Matt does. Oh, hey, there's an important item right there.
That is a very important arrow.
The single arrow, folks, and yeah, double disappointment on left side, unfortunately.
It was 2 items though, so if he had skipped it, he would have beat the dungeon, seen there was 2 and had to come back. So it was definitely the right play to check it there.
Absolutely. You don't want to be checking there and finding disappointment, because then you're gonna feel a little behind. Pun time. Blind, you are near and dear to my heart.
That's one of my favorite parts of every seed, is finding the wonderful puns on Blind.
Pizza joke? Nah, I think it's too cheesy.
Matt is making the blind fight look pretty down to 2 hearts. Gotta be careful. There, he's down.
Yeah, that's doing blind with low hearts like that, even with blue mail, is not easy. So really good job on the blind fight right there.
And that's the one fight in the game where Matt's shiny tempered sword was not helping him at all, because blind takes the same damage from every sword.
It is kind of good, though, if you have just, like, fighter sword and you don't have a whole lot in the way of stuff. It might be an okay idea to get it out of the way if you got some insurance items, but other than that...
Yeah, any insurance item definitely helps a lot there, because you always need those 9 hits. Trojan, meanwhile, is making his way through the waterfall room of Swamp. Gonna check that chest and see what's inside. Just a piece of love.
And a lot of love for Matt there in the Village of Outcasts and Bum Hut.
That is Matt's 3rd crystal, though. He is definitely making very good progress through the crystal dungeons.
Indeed. I mean, I still feel like it's a little early to tell. I mean, Matt's got more crystals at the moment. Trojan's about to finish the same amount of dungeons, kind of just doing a different thing at the moment. So it almost feels like 6 of one, half dozen of the other at the moment to me.
Yeah, both of their routes are very different, and both look very correct too. So it's really interesting to see them play out like this.
That's always the cool part of Rando. Sometimes the players will take completely different directions, and you don't know who's ahead until they finally meet up, and it ends up being super close. And that was not even a close Argus fight. Argus kicking the bucket easily.
Yeah, Argus tried, but he had no fight. He went down quick.
And that marks Trojan's 2nd crystal. But we got to remember that he also has the flute, whereas Matt does not.
And for those who may have tuned in later, flute is in Pendant Eastern that Matt did not check when he went to Sahasrala's hut.
So Matt may be kind of flailing around trying to figure out where that flute is. So we'll have to see. They decide, oh, what is that? There we find. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the glorious, glorious Butter Sword.
Butter Sword is always a fun item to get. It doesn't make as big of an impact as getting Tempered from Master Sword, but it's always nice to have.
And plus, the bosses tend to be pretty weak to the cholesterol Butter Sword, so that's good.
Well, they're stuck in their rooms, they don't get to move much, you see, so, you know, we gotta cut down on that.
Exactly. And we're going to get a pyramid check here from Trojandude. And K45 on the table, Bonnell on the pyramid. And in K45, survey says... Just another aorta.
All these overworld dark world checks they can be hard to route in, so it's good to get them out of the way like this.
Yeah, Catfish is not easy unless you're like working it into Zora, and even then sometimes it's always hard to find the right time to get that in.
I feel like there's never really a right time for catfish. It's just less wrong times because it never feels good to check it.
And speaking of things at the right time, Trojandude is turning in the mushroom.
This makes sense to buy a blue potion on the way up too. So that's another insurance policy that can just make those trouble moments, you know, just go away.
Exactly. Two items you don't usually think of as being that useful, but really can go in a pit. Oh, and a bomb with a letter on it for the Hype Cave guy. But 2 items: powder and bug catching net.
Yes, you can put those fairies in the bottles, and those add up over time very quickly.
There's a reason I call them insurance fairies, and it's not for the meme.
Oh, no, they're a great insurance policy, especially as you get later into the game and you kind of use your potion up and you run it up Ganon's tower and you wish you had a way to fill them. The net does a really good job of that.
Absolutely. Insurance families, on the other hand, just kind of sounds eh.
But Matt is going to go check Swamp at this point, which is going to pay off very nicely and get that Cane of Samaria.
And I think Trojan is making a pod play at this time.
The other highest density location left, very smart. Go in there, see what you can find. You can full clear this dungeon. Great idea.
I love Trojan's routing ideas for picking the dungeons. I mean, it wouldn't have made, I would agree it wouldn't have made sense to do like a pod Eastern, especially where Eastern was a pendant dungeon, but doing it this way and getting the early density out of the way is a fantastic idea. I like that.
And doing the pod Eastern combo is what I hope Matt does when he gets over there. I just worry because it's a pendant that he won't do it.
Yeah, that's always possible. I mean, you want to put off the pendant dungeons until last, but sometimes you just can't do that.
If Myers is, well, I suppose Turtle Rock could be as well, but if those are his last 2, he might do it. Because he knows he needs to find the flute to get to one of his crystals.
Yeah, you definitely want to save Turtle Rock or usually sometimes Hera, but usually Turtle Rock is one of your last dungeons. Oh, look what Trojan got.
There's the mitts! That opens up all of those small locations all around that we couldn't get access to before. It opens up Eastern Dark World Death Mountain.
Be able to get his mitts on much more than just those mitts. That's going to be a fantastic find right there. Oh, that pod is showing its awesome.
Also gets you into Misery Mire, gets you into Ice Palace, which would be unfortunate if you had to do it, but it just opens up everything.
But the awesome thing is, though, for chat, because we know how bloodthirsty they are, Agassiz is still very on the table right now.
We have not checked either medallion dungeon yet, and Quake could very easily be either one of them, or both.
I like this seed. There's a lot of nice going on, but it just seems like it's going to yank the chain somehow.
But it's also been nice to them in that it's given them good weapons, it's given them hearts, it's given them blue mail, so it's got good logic, but it's not easy.
Seed's got to be a jerk to him somewhere.
It's going to be that medallion.
Exactly. And Matt, probably happy to get their hands on Cane of Samaria there.
Yes, that's a big sigh of relief to get that one out of the way.
And key there.
All the front loading in pod to get the keys just to prevent those possible key locks.
I remember in an earlier match of the tournament hearing somebody refer to pod as Mullet Dungeon. Business in the front, party in the back. With the Titan's Mitt, I kind of disagree on this one this time.
No, its party was right up front, but it could also have a party in the back still too. You never know with pod.
First you got the party, and then you got the after party. So let's find out what that after party is.
Oh, that's right, just realizing it too. If that Quake is required, we will need to find the boots to get it, and we have not yet done that.
I still may hear Aga cackling in the background. Do you?
Oh, I definitely do. He's just waiting until we figure it out that we have to go there. Matt, meanwhile, taking on Buttersword with Argus and, well, making even faster work of him.
Little known fact, Argus is actually lactose intolerant.
Oh, well, that makes sense then.
Yeah, see?
Only a compass, though, which, I mean, we knew that, but still. Trojandude going to the dark room here, gonna find some chests in here, and then the big chest with 3 more locations to find something nice.
A map for one. And Matt, it looks like jumping in to check that left side.
Yeah, see, the play makes sense, too, and then you see there's 2 items and you know you have to go back, and he's going to be very disappointed to find what they are.
I smell another bomb drop on the horizon, and speaking of bomb something...
Bombos, which is just makes Ice Palace nicer if you have to go there at this point. Also, potentially opens up Mire or Turtle Rock.
Absolutely, yeah, we know where all the medallions are now, so if they do need a medallion, it's their... You know where I'm going with this. Everything's on the table now.
Technically, all we need for Go Mode to start happening is that Ice Rod, but a lot of items could be required that we don't know yet, which is really fun.
And the fun part about Ice Rod is, Ice Rod can literally be anywhere.
So the whole world could have anything at this point, but they're also very close to finding where all the important items are at the same time.
So it's interesting. Is the sea gonna throw him a curveball? That's what we've been thinking about for the last 50 minutes or so here, and it's still a question that has yet to be answered. And I'm getting hyped for this.
Me too. It's kind of funny that the seed is even playing a little joke on them and not giving them the book, so they can't check they can't check pedestal, they can't check the 2 tablets to know what's there. So it's not letting him reveal the surprise early.
That's probably why I'm so hyped for this that I can't words all of this this race here.
Well, we have Trojandude is about to go to Helmasaur King and finish off Podwell. Matt is gonna do his left side swamp checks, and I'm assuming there's going to be a bomb in every chest that he opens over here.
Well, not that one yet. No, I think it was just straight up disappointment on that one. And we are getting Helmasaur now.
Trojandude extending his sword to just make that hammer hitbox facing up that much longer, because that is probably the worst hitbox in the game to work with.
Yeah, and the fact that you have to do 17 hits on Helmasaur to knock that mask off is, it does feel like it does take a while.
No silvers though, so it takes a little bit more to bring him down once the mask is off, but Trojandude is making pretty quick work of it.
Still a pretty solid fight though. And another boss compass. And that marks 3 crystals for 3 crystals for Trojan, and Matt has 4 crystals as well, but they've cleared the same amount of dungeons.
Yes, that they have, and Trojandude is probably going to head over to Village of Outcasts and Skullwoods in some order and complete both of those to catch up on what Matt has already done.
And yeah, Matt's doing that pod play. It'd be interesting to see if he backtracks into Eastern or just doesn't bother with it.
If he does, I bet he does it after, so that's where I'm going to be really watching him.
Yeah, ditto here. That's the fun. That's kind of the fun in various ways of being commentators. We know where the items are, but they don't. And to see him sometimes do the moves that we know are the right or wrong ones can be just painful from this bird's eye view.
Oh, it can hurt. And Trojandude is looks like he's gonna check the Pyramid Fairy, because Hera and Pod were the two red crystals.
Wise idea. I haven't seen Fat Fairy give as much of the items as previous iterations, but it's still a very viable play.
If I had to guess, he's also gonna then go to North Dark World and check the overworld locations up there. Now that you have Myths and you can do Graveyard Ledge.
And not only that, I don't think they've routed in King's Tomb at all either, or some of those other locations, so that might not be a bad idea to go back and forth to.
Now the fun thing with the giant bomb here is you can't actually be hurt by it. The game didn't code any damage, so you can stand on top of the bomb and take no pain from it at all.
And speaking of pain, not finding a whole lot from the Pyramid Fairy, unfortunately. And I think we're going to get our first look as to if this is going to be an Aga seed or not, potentially.
Oh, this is a really important check right here. Also going to get a nice couple locations knocked off with the Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave. Probably will check the ledge at some point too. Oh, but the Murder Dactyl decides to come play.
Ether! So we got Vanilla Ether. They're fine for now. But if it comes to Turtle Rock and that has Quake, troll-lo-lo-lo-lo.
And the scary part is, even if it doesn't, we're still looking for that Ice Rod.
I think I heard Aga cackle even harder now.
You think he hid the Ice Rod somewhere? That happens.
And we're getting our Checkerboard Cave check.
Remember one time I came into here without the meter and had no idea how to get the item. That was funny.
And Matt successfully doing that bomb jump, and I have not seen it done without the pause buffer. Very, very nicely done by Matt. He has practiced that.
Yes, that was an extremely smooth hammer jump. Well done.
That was like looking into a mirror and loving your own reflection like Narcissus right there.
Speaking of loving, Trojandude is loving that this is not Quake and is going to definitely jump right into Mire.
But if we see Vanilla Quake at Turtle Rock, oh, we're gonna have all kinds of fun. So, chat, your lust for blood is still going to possibly be satiated soon.
Unfortunately, Mire only has 2 items in it. So it's not a super fruitful location, but it's a crystal, and you're right here. Good to get it out of the way.
The funny thing is with Mire, though, is I've seen it kind of be one of those 50-50 dungeons. It doesn't really hold much in terms of items, but but sometimes I've seen it hold some very key items.
Such as the nature of Randomizer. That one location, even if it's in a spot that doesn't have much, can always be the most important one.
Especially, and where you still got to look everywhere for that Ice Rod, you got to check every nook and cranny. That's got to be the annoying thing with the players right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's unfortunate that he will not have silvers, but it'd be nice to find those here and speed up the Vitreous fight.
Absolutely. We may find it, but we may just be having to go without clear eyes today, unfortunately.
Having the Tempered and the Cape makes it a little easier, especially with the half magic, so it's not the worst it could be, but it's still not great.
Yeah, because it's that high damaging lightning bolt attack from Vitreous that really can suck up things, and those little eyeballs can do some pretty good damage too.
They look so innocuous and they don't move quickly, but they do a ton of damage if it hits you.
I don't know if it's like the gross out factor factoring into the damage or what, but I know if an eyeball was thrown through itself at me, I would be pretty squicked.
Yeah, I'd freak out just seeing it coming at me. It would already do the damage before it got there. Meanwhile, Matt is almost done with Pod here, so that's gonna be nice to check that off. Gonna watch him to see if he goes to Eastern after.
Very clean turtle room right there. You can tell Matt's been practicing a lot for this.
Which is to say, also, Trojandude has been playing extremely well, too. Both of our runners have done an awesome job playing through this very, very tricky logic-wise seed.
Indeed, and if you've been enjoying them as much as we have, please give the runners a follow. They have been doing a fantastic job, and just wait until you see what else they do in their stream. So yeah, definitely give them a watch.
Just 50 rupees for Trojan, though. Not the item you want to find in Mire.
But there's still one more, so it's not off the table yet.
Ah, and he gets that full magic. That's very helpful if you know it's there, but it's not the most commonly known about location.
It is pretty nice to know that it is right there if they need it, so always good.
Especially because you're going to need to do 4 fire rods if you really want to get that next room done quickly, so having that insurance policy is great. Unfortunately, it means you have to wait 30 seconds to get the shakes done to check the chest, but, you know.
That's not too bad right now where they're not as much in a hurry. Oh, there's just disappointment in Mire, unfortunately.
And Matt is done with Pod and is mirroring to Eastern. Oh, that's so important. That goes all the way, and let's hope he gets that flute.
Wise choice right there. I think that's still putting our runners back on track to be neck and neck.
Yeah, I have no idea who's ahead right now.
That's the thing I love about calling Rando and even just watching the matches back. It's really hard to tell who's the clear-cut winner until right at the end. Unless like one person gets like a significant lead, you can tell. But other than that, it's so exciting to watch it from beginning to end.
And even the end, you have a good idea who's ahead, but Ganon can always rear his ugly head and change things around.
As I always say, it ain't over till the Fat Fairy sings. So I've seen that ring true so many times.
And Trojan's running through the back half of Mire now and making very quick work with these dark rooms with the lamp, but still.
Kind of an interesting thing to see. It's kind of a blink and you miss it sort of thing, but those little black critters that come out of the hole that's made, it only comes out in a couple of locations, but it's kind of a surprise if you aren't really thinking about it too much.
Oh, see, I don't think about it at all, and I just get hit by them every time, so, you know, both options work. But they're super rare to find.
Speaking of hitting things, it's time to hit some eyeballs. Keep your eyes peeled, folks. This Vitreous fight will be awesome.
Utilizing that cape to make sure you can get some damage on all the little eyes at the same time really will speed this fight up.
Yeah, because usually it seems like the first half of the fights are always the trickier ones. Vitreous, Trinex. But then when you get to the second phase, it's pretty simple.
And no item, unfortunately, but the crystal.
But the crystal is the most important part, and with that, Trojandude picks up his 4th crystal. And that's on his 5th, but they're going to be pretty much tied after this.
Trojandude looks like he's going to check the ledge while he's here, which is a really smart time to do it. You don't have to come back if you remember it's there, but it would have been very easy to leave without doing it.
And nothing you wanted from Desert there.
Oh, interesting. Going to check Agina. This is not a quick check at this point, considering your movement, but it could have the Ice Rod, and I don't know if Matt is going to check this anytime soon.
I found the best time to route it in is if you're checking out the Bombos medallion, the Bombos tablet there.
Oh yeah, because you can just jump down and then come right in. Sure. Just
Bingo.
a bunch of money though.
Poor Aki now get his life savings stolen.
He lives in a cave. He doesn't need it.
He's just miserly, you know?
Is Trojan going to East Dark World Death Mountain? Hasn't done that yet? No, he hasn't. Going to do Hookshot Cave. Check all those locations.
Neither player has, and I think about an hour in, we're going to be seeing whether we're going to have an AGA required seat, folks, and missing the Swag Duck Airlines.
Matt, however, is finishing up Eastern Palace. He has got his flute, and I'm sure he's... I don't know if he's happy or sad, because it's not an easy check, but Trojan happened to do it. Probably relieved at the, if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. At least going in there and getting the flute is definitely peace of mind in and of itself, because you're going to have to go back and complete Meyer anyway, so it's nice to have.
Definitely is. I'm just very anxious for this Turtle Rock check. This affects everything right here.
Drum roll, please. And I really do wish I had a drum roll sound effect there.
They should implement that. It'd be useful. Oh, the stationary pegs can be so hard though.
Trojan did it for us, and survey says
it's Bombos.
AGA dreams are dead, but that was a fun hype wait up nonetheless.
Definitely played up the emotions of the seed, even while not even having to get Quake.
That's going to be a big sigh of relief for Trojandude right there.
Oh, definitely. You don't want to have to do that pedestal seed, though. Oh, you have to do Ice Palace. I was going to say, he's already got one, but the Ice Palace being the third pendant would not be a fun one.
No, absolutely not. And there's still a chance, too, that that Ice Rod could be in Turtle Rock, so they could be checking everything in vain.
Could be on Turtle Rock, or it could be on the pedestal. The meanness is not gone yet from chat.
No, if anything, it's made them even more bloodthirsty.
Unfortunately, Trojan checks Hookshot Cave and finds not much of note in there at all.
Going backwards, though, to check out a Super Bunny Cave, that's not an idea I've seen yet. I actually like that writing decision quite a bit.
It makes sense a lot in this scene when you wanted to go check Turtle Rock without actually entering it. There's the boots! What are those?
Those are boots. The Pegasus boots, mind you, and now can dash to his heart's content.
That's going to be really nice for running through Skullwoods and Turtle Rock. It's going to speed those dungeons up. Not a huge amount, but it's just, just ever so slightly.
Yeah, the boots are one of those things, if you want to find it and get the most out of it, you want to find it early. Other than that, the time savings are kind of minimal, but in a close race, it can make all the difference.
Very smart game knowledge on Trojandude's part to know that there's a fairy in that top bush. Fill up his hearts while he's going to check Spike Cave.
And with the bug-catching hand in net, if you need it, now that you know where to get a quick insurance fairy.
And Matt has dove into Meyer. Gonna have to full clear this, but, he will be able to do so and get that crystal, leaving him only with Turtle Rock after he's done.
And just disappointment in Spike Cave.
But thinking is that, the two runners have a lot to do, but they've both done different things and gotten a lot of the game completed. There's not a lot of locations left for Ice Rod to be.
Yeah, because we still got some places to check, but basically the Ice Rod is going to be the difference maker. Oh, and I think we're getting. Have we checked Sick Kid yet? I don't think we have.
I think Matt did when he activated his flute.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I totally forgot about that.
But not a lot for Trojandude, just the good old big 20.
Sometimes as commentators, there's so many exciting things to see, you forget about a few things here and there.
And with this seed in this race especially, that the two runners have taken completely different routes around the world. It's hard to remember who's done what, when, where.
And Trojandude is going to be following in Matt's footsteps here, while Matt follows in Trojandude's footsteps. So right now it's kind of a retracing moment, but that's definitely not a bad thing here.
While we have a bit of overlap, I just want to shout out the custom sprite makers for Trojandude's very awesome Valera Sanguinar sprite. It's always fun to see with the male colors, how they change those custom sprites. It gives a lot of fun detail to the game.
Yeah, I actually really like the amount of different sprites you can choose from when you're doing rando. I actually earlier tried out the Wizrobe. Yes, the same Wizrobes that you see in Meyer as a sprite, and that was pretty well done as also.
Yeah, it's the details and the animations is just gorgeous on them, and you might think there's maybe 5 or 10. There's somewhere around 90 different custom sprites you can try out.
Especially a couple of my own personal favorites that I haven't tried yet, but just love that they're on there. Argus and Vitreous. Yes, you can... I am totally tempted to just play a rando seed as Vitreous. Not even for the race, just for the sheer hilarity of it.
Well, and to see what the bunny sprite is. Because that's the most important thing. When you change to a bunny with a custom sprite, it's kind of a very fun Easter egg on what you get.
My god, you're right.
Trojandude, however, is almost done with Skull Woods and will be taking on Mothula. He still does not found that Butter Sword because he hasn't made his way down to the digging game yet, this would help a little bit. But actually it wouldn't, because Mothula takes Tempered Sword damage from Butter Sword.
Yeah, because originally there's kind of a bit of an error coding in Mothula, if I'm not mistaken, and the Butter Sword actually is detrimental because it doesn't really do that much for Mothula, if I'm not mistaken.
As far as I understand, that was their workaround for making the spikes not damage Mothula because they do Butter Sword damage. Or like they have the same hit register or something. So they made it immune so it wouldn't get hurt by him.
Unfortunately, that just means Mothula likes butter, but loses 2 temper and gets the big key.
Which really works out perfect in this seed because you're going to want to go back and check that big key chest anyway, but you're going to want to go do Village of Outcasts, so the routing works out awesome.
Yeah, because, I mean, both of these players' routing has been just on point and fantastic. Two very... It's very much like eating a peanut butter cup. There's no wrong way of doing it.
The Butter Sword was patched for Rando, yes, but it was patched by making it do Tempered Sword damage instead.
Still will make Ganon fights a lot easier, and now it is time for Butter Sword.
And Trinex. 3 slashes with butter makes those heads fall extremely quickly.
That too. Do you think these eyes can have heart attacks?
Do eyes have hearts? That's a good question. Well, they don't anymore, so Matt just definitely eliminated them with that Butter Sword.
Not so much a question for now, but kind of one of those weird philosophical questions you have to think on for ages.
Oh, the whole caught Trojandude. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's kind of a stinky hole to fall down.
Oh, he didn't check the chest on the way in. Well, it wasn't stinky. That was very well planned on his part, and I definitely paid attention and noticed.
And now I feel so stinky that I need to take a shower after this. Thank you, Trojandude. And Trojan opting to take the bit of a longer way around, but to get some of the other chests too, which is definitely a good idea.
I
personally like to use hook shot to get over there if I have to go around, so that one's not a bad idea either.
About to check that big chest and get a very, very small shield.
But now if they decide they want to go back into Hookshot Caving to the island, it starts to... The fire's going from the Fisher-Price shield to the Fire shield and the Riot shield. Those are actually some pretty good things. It's just one of those things you have to make an investment in.
Yeah, but it definitely pays off, especially if you want to, you know, Riot Shield makes Laser Bridge just nothing.
And it also makes those Mimic projectiles, it just makes the Mimic so much easier to fight if you have trouble with them.
Matt is also heading up to Death Mountain. Probably, oh, he's only got Turtle Rock left. I wonder if he's just going to make the play of Ice Rod being in Turtle Rock. That'd be a heck of a gamble, but it could pay off very, very strongly for him.
Could be. We got some Bonk Rocks, I think, Trojans checking out some of these other locations. So there's still gambles to be made. Let's see which one is the right one.
Yeah, and Matt has the Dark World Death Mountain to do around Turtle Rock, so I mean, he's probably doing them both at the same time, but I wonder if he's going to go into Turtle Rock right after.
Could very well be. It's right there, but the problem is if you make the gamble and it's not there, then you are in a heap of trouble.
Oh, but it's on the Graveyard Ledge.
And this could mean a heap of trouble.
Trojandude gets that Ice Rod. He is now in go mode, though he has to still go do Thieves Town before he goes up to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and Thieves Town go mode is just going to be zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. Sometimes for Rando, that's just what makes all the difference.
It's really weird to have Thieves Town be this late in your order, though. Since it has so few items that you need to go to it, it usually gets done pretty early.
Yeah, though it does make sense to tackle it on later, especially if you're not confident in your blind strats, because there's so much fire power going around from blind that it can get a little crazy if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, but Trojandude will not have any issue with it at this point, being very well decked out. Unfortunately, though, that probably means he's not going to get that Butter Sword.
Likely, unless he doesn't feel confident with the Salt without having Silver Arrow. If he feels confident with having Silver Arrows, then yeah, or without them. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yes. If he doesn't feel confident in his Tempered Sword Silver list, then he could go look for it. But I don't know if he would go look at Digging Game specifically. It's going to be an out-of-the-way check that's also not quick. He might look in Ganon's Tower, I bet, but he's not going to find it. Unless they get super lucky and find it in that final chest after Moldorm 2, but, you know, that's, odds of that happening are very slim. That they are. Matt's opening up Turtle Rock. I wonder if he's going to jump in without Ice Rod. I hope he doesn't.
He will be set up for some very, very major disappointment.
Oh no, Matt. No disappointment. That's no good.
That's why Aga was cackling. But the way you see it, though, it's definitely not a bad idea for the gamble. We just know it's not the right one to make right now.
Especially if he feels behind, this could pay off so strong that bring him right back in the race. So it makes perfect sense to try it. We just know it's not going to work.
Yeah, because the state's been pretty quick to give them a lot of things, so this has been pretty generous.
Yeah, it actually has been a pretty quick seed. The go mode was roughly, what, 115?
Yeah, I mean, hey, you calls them like you sees them, don't you?
No, I didn't think this was going to be a quick seed at almost any point after it started.
It's just that hunch. Though then again, I've had a hunch that an important item was going to be in a chest, and it just turned out to be a green rupee, so your hunches seem to be better than mine sometimes.
Maybe your hunch just likes the green rupee a lot.
My hunch likes to troll me, but that's neither here nor there.
Trojandude is in the basement. He's picked up the maiden in Thieves Town, and he's gonna be through this dungeon in just a quick minute.
Get to have a very nice blind pun. That's why everyone goes to Thieves Town, right?
That's what I always assumed. Oh, the chain chomps hit Matt, and those do a bunch of damage. Even in blue mail, you can see it's taken off. He's down to 1 heart.
Maybe the death will be a blessing in disguise if he ends up getting killed.
He's got the cape out, though, with the half magic, which makes perfect sense. Give yourself the easy chest and get out of the room with the fairy right there.
That's true, but there's still a lot of Death Mountain to be found. So if you're not careful...
And he gets the fairy with the 1 heart. That's a bit stressful. Trojandude, meanwhile, utilizing the burn of strats on blind. Can't be killed, but it lags the game a good bit.
And a nicely done piece of heart, and with that, we are going to see Trojan's Turtle Rock play.
The ice rod was in Graveyard Ledge.
The good news is that, like, go mode for Turtle Rock isn't that much faster than full clearing it. The bad news is Matt's still going to have to go back.
Yes, and he's going to have to figure out where that ice rod could be, and this is going to be one of a many possible one-off locations that it's just going to be hard for him to find it quickly.
And unfortunately, too, Graveyard Ledge is one of those oft-forgotten areas that you don't really think of until, like, way after the fact. So that may be a thing. We may be having him search for a while.
I hope he checks it quick, but yeah, it's that one of those spots that's so hard to route in conveniently that it just kind of gets left behind. Even as an afterthought, you don't even intentionally leave it. It just doesn't come to your mind.
Yeah, it's one of those areas. Bonk Rocks can be one. Spike Cave is another example of often forgotten places.
For me, Ether Medallion always seems to slip my mind too. Or Ether Pedestal.
Yeah, the medallion pedestals can be too. I can see that, where especially if you don't get the book that often or that early in your seeds, it's something you just don't really think about. And interesting too, some of the strats that the players have are sometimes developed by just their own experiences too, which is why we can see a lot of different route diversions and a lot of different strategies and stuff they're good at.
Yeah, there's no two same rando players. Everyone has their own little ways of doing various things, which makes it so fun. Every race is a treat.
Exactly. It's still like a peanut butter cup. I love peanut butter cups. I don't know about you, but I love them.
I wish I could eat them.
And I actually wasn't making any sort of pun that time. I'm actually being legit, but that, again, neither here nor there.
Trojandude is up in Turtle Rock now. This is going to be a go mode clear, so he's just looking for that big key. Matt, very smart, knows... Oh, no, I thought he was going to get the full magic. I was not... Looks the same as before. Eh. Oh, he is going to get the full magic. I knew he was going to do that, totally. Yes, that's a good map knowledge there.
Absolutely. Don't doubt yourself. You know a lot more than you think.
Trojan, I think he's trying to do the cape dash, or the cane dash.
And finally worked out from there. Sometimes it's a pretty easy glitch to do the item dash, but sometimes it's just getting it activated at the same time that can be a bit of a pain in the butt.
And Matt's on Laser Bridge, hoping he's going to find Ice Rod, but he's not going to. And that's going to be incredibly disheartening.
That's a point where I would be doing anger pulls. I don't know what you do. I like to do anger pulls. What do you usually do?
Oh, can't the rage slashes.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting. You see where the players' mindsets, even as they're just playing, So that's another cool little tiny tidbit on this.
Well, Matt is going to Dark World via Village of Outcasts, which is probably where he would go to Graveyard Ledge, so let's hope he checks it.
This might be a good play, so he may not be as behind as we think.
Trojan is moving very carefully around those chain chomps, not taking damage. Oh, Matt's going south. No, he started north. Oh, he's gonna do the blacksmith into chest with all those checks, which makes sense. There's 4 items there. Or 3.
There are 5 in Turtle Rock, I know that much.
Oh yes, with Matt over with the blacksmith. I'm in the peg cave.
I actually discovered, and I haven't really explored it myself, I did see a player in my race actually not punch all of the hammer pegs down and still opened it. I think you have to knock it down in the shape of the hammer, but I haven't like tested it fully myself.
Oh, there's the Valera bunny. Good bunny sprite. I will have to try that next time I play through it. Not sure that'll work, but it'll be fun.
Oh, yeah. It looks like, we are seeing the dwarves reunited.
And Matt found the red mail in Peg Cave, so that's at least a nice little find for him. It's one of the few items he would actually want to find that's not Ice Rod.
Oh yeah, the better mail you have, the easier things are. And you can't really fault him for going this way too, because there's just way more item possibilities than there are just going up to check out Graveyard Ledge. And I can't remember. I think he checked King's Tomb, didn't he?
I think he did, but he can take the route he's taking with the chest and check Graveyard Ledge on the way.
Which it looks like he's doing. Ooh, swerve the commentators. I love it. With a bumper cave check tune to boot. And there's another shield on bumper cave there, so we know where all the shield locations are now. But I don't suspect anyone's going to go out of their way just to get the shield at this point, so...
No, it's not. It can be nice. It's not that nice.
It's nice to find if you can get them conveniently, but it's not something that a lot of players are going to go out of their way to get.
And Trojan is in the dark room for Turtle Rock, so he has just got the 2 bridges left after this, and then it's down to Trinex. And then we'll be in Ganon's Tower.
Yes, indeed. And we're going to be having some fun in between that time, but we gotta wait for the Trinex fight. And Trojandude's still having to check for that key, so Laser Bridge is in a play here.
Unfortunately, couldn't avoid Laser Bridge. Might take the safety door, but with the hearts and the mail, probably won't do it, and with half magic, it's a pretty safe fight. Matt is in Graveyard Ledge. He is going to find that Ice Rod. That is going to be great. It will put him in go mode, and will make that immediate turnaround back to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it always stinks that you have to climb back up Death Mountain, but at least it's open, and you should be able to get through it fairly quickly. So, because I had to do that a little earlier today playing a seed, and it wasn't as bad as I thought, but when you're in a tournament race where every second counts, that can be really disheartening.
Yeah, it can hurt. Trojan is on Trinex now, and he's got the first head down, moving to the second. Very clean so far.
The hardest thing I always find with Trinex is trying to keep the heads in place, because they like to dodge your shots a lot.
They're connected. You think they can't be quick, but those heads are agile.
Yeah, and if you don't have half magic like I did, then that can make for some really ugly fights. But ugly fights are not what part 2 of Trinex is about here, as Trojandude finally gets the 7th crystal. And do you know what time that means when it's 7th crystal time?
Oh, I do. Please tell us about it. So we like to play a game here on Link to the Past Randomizer. Pick your chest where you think the big key is going to be in Ganon's Tower. It is 1 to 23, 22. And if you get it right, you get a very fun prize if you are a subscriber to any of the Speed Gaming channels, or if you have donated 250 bits. Where do you think this is going to be tonight, Rick?
Oh, well, I like to think about what kind of seed it's been. I feel like it's going to be in the double fire bar room.
That would be number...
I think that's number 8.
There was a couple 8 guesses, so there's some people who are thinking the same.
What are you thinking?
I'm feeling Rando Room always 12.
Well, let's see what happens.
My mantra is it's always Rando Room. Since why else does that room exist but for us in Randomizer? So the key's always just put there for us.
That is true.
Matt is in Turtle Rock. He's getting to the back half of it. There it is, the big key. That would be what? That would be 4?
And got the extra key you're going to need for Ganon's Tower too. You don't want to forget about that extra key, otherwise you are going to be feeling sorry when you go to fight Moldorm 2.
Looks like we didn't have a 4 guess, but there was a 5 from Lori D. Bunnykins.
Congratulations! All runner-up prizes get you to the Swamp Palace Spa, courtesy of the Dark World. And since you won't have the Moon Pearl, you'll be feeling like a whole new you.
Matt is now taking the ride over to Trinex, and then will be making his way to Ganon's Tower. If he goes left side first, he's not very far behind.
Pretty solid tactic on the Mimics to get them in between the blocks and the pots. I haven't seen that done, but that's actually really solid. Good job.
Yeah, that was... Actually, I hadn't seen that either. I will have to try to remember that because it made that very easy, and that can have a lot of trouble.
Yeah, especially with the Red Mimic's rude habit of spitting when they look at you.
And without a shield to stop it, that actually does anything, it can be tricky.
Remember, folks, spitting is a dirty habit.
Matt has to try next down with the Butter Sword to win even easier. Time to make his way to Ganon's Tower.
So even though Trojandude has the lead, if Matt can find the big key as quick and take the left side, he's still not that far behind. So any little thing, that's Trojandude's got to have some really good execution to make sure that he keeps on top of this.
Yeah, this race is actually very close. This is not a runaway at all. It'll be very fun to see how this end plays out.
So fun thing I actually learned too, playing Randomizer, is that you can actually powder those things that turn you into the rabbit, and you can get fairies from them as well.
Yes, they're like a free fairy as well. The only tricky part with those things is you have to hit them before they move, otherwise it doesn't work.
And if you actually know they're under a pot, you can actually powder the pot and get them that way.
Which I didn't know for the longest time. I would chase it. I had to like switch really quick after opening it.
It's kind of fun. You actually learn things as commentators too. You never stop learning things, especially in Rando.
And Matt is going straight left. Doesn't even check the first 2 chests. That's going to save him even a little bit more time. This is the fastest possible BK path he could take. It's going to catch him up a little bit.
I think He did take a look at it, and unfortunately, Hope Cave wasn't the hope he was looking for. But I think he'll get a nice second place finish out of it. And Trojandude going through the only collapsing bridge room that has guardrails on it, ironically in Ganon's tower. Safety first.
He just wants to make sure all of his minions are cared for.
What a nice caring evil villain. And a pretty quick trip to the Mimic Spike room.
Trojan picking up that full magic refill in the laser room. It's always good to remember that's there. You definitely need some magic at this point usually, and it's just a big sigh of relief.
And look at those sweet sword strats from Matt. We've seen two very different yet really, really nicely done sword strats on those mimics right there. Kudos points to the players.
Yeah, they're making Ganon's tower look very, very easy. Both runners just doing a great job.
You can definitely see they've been like really practicing.
And Trojandude, I'm sure, is hunting for that butter sword and or red mail, maybe even a little bit. But we know both are not going to be found, and that just gives Matt that little bit of edge.
That's true, yeah, because I think, though, once I get to Ganon, it's going to come into play for the first half of it, but once you get to the second half and doing swordless strats, then it's kind of equalizes itself. Trojandude having nothing to worry about on that Moldorm 2 fight. And just a piece of heart in that final Ganon's tower chest. Those blocks not acting very nice for Trojandude.
Yeah, they weren't behaving. I one time in my very first couple playthroughs, I pulled out the mirror to make the blocks disappear. I didn't finish that seed.
Oh, I would be dropping some bombs there.
Yeah, I quit after that. But let's see what Trojandude can do on Aghanim. A double to start is very nice.
And Matt not far behind at Land Molas.
Another double from Trojan. Just one more hit left on Aghanim 2, and we will be on to Ganon.
And there we are. We are on to Ganon, but again, it is not over until the Fat Fairy sings. This is still a very, very close race. And
yeah, one Ganon fall or one Ganon death would bring them right into line with each other.
Indeed. And did you see that the second Wizard room and how beautifully Matt did that Samaria?
Oh, it was just as smooth as could be. You know, I'd say it was as smooth as butter, but, you know, if you're into puns.
Oh, I'm into puns, but folks, seriously, that is not an easy tactic. Our runners make these things look so easy, and that room in particular is not. Good job, Matt.
Trojan is making very quick work of the first phase. They'll get behind him in very quick slashes.
Yeah, you're definitely want to be able to get into a good position with Ganon, because this second part here, this is where it gets really dicey with the Fire Bats taking off a lot of damage, even if you have Red Mail.
They do a lot of damage, but they cannot hit through a cape.
Funny little cool strat, even though it's a little bit late. If you do have to do Tile Room, pop on the cape, grab the edge, and it actually does not drain your magic.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to breathe in what can be... Oh, Matt!
Moldezuma's revenge! Ouch. Oh, the
just
Ganon's...
caught him on that.
The silver arrows are in Ganon's tower. Oh, revenge! That is rough for Matt. Moldorm is not being nice to him.
And Trojandude got the torch glitch for Silverless here, which makes it significantly easier. Some would say even possible. You can't do it without it.
There we go. Third time's the charm for Matt. And it's still, I mean, it's still not over until you get that last hit on Ganon. It is not over.
No, Ganon has a whole slew of evil tricks up his sleeve that could knock you right off if you're not careful.
It's really particularly ugly when you don't activate the torch glitch, and Ganon's right on the bottom, and he fits it just like that. It's like, hi Ganon, bye Ganon.
And since he's invisible, you don't even know it until it's already too late, and it's just the worst feeling.
And then the even worse feeling is when you've gotten a whole bunch of hits on him already, and then oops, bye.
Speaking of a whole bunch of hits, we got a double starting from Matt on Aghanim as well. Very good start there.
Yeah, it's just down to a few hits now for Trojandude, but again, it's not over till the Fat Fairy sings. He's got it pretty good so far, though.
He's had a very good rhythm. He looks very in control. He's got a full... There he goes.
And very nicely done by Trojandude. And Matt about to go into his Ganon fight here, but it's going to be about roughly 140 and a half. I don't have the official speed gaming time, but GG Trojandude, that was fantastic. And hopefully we can get him in a couple of minutes for an interview and hopefully some fun banter. So we'll see what happens here.
Meanwhile, Matt is already in phase 2 of that Butter Sword, making very quick work of Ganon.
Yeah, definitely not all that far behind.
No, not at all. Basically 3/4 of Ganon fight. Not much. Already in phase 3 here. Get some warps around, but makes very quick work. One slash at a time with the butters makes it even easier.
Oh, exactly. That's, yeah, and there we go. We're on our final phase. Let's see if he can get the torch glitch in. And he does.
Perfectly executed torch glitch.
I am completely digging this.
Making sure Ganon's out of the way before activating that torch again, just so you don't get knocked off. It's really smart just to take that extra little second there.
Yeah, and with the Tempered Sword and the Butter Sword, it does about the same amount of damage. And I think we might have Trojandude in here now. Trojan, you here?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hey, GG, glad you can join us here. Matt's pulling out a pretty sweet and Matt just beats Ganon himself. I'll have to check the official times in just a moment, but yeah, definitely GG to you, Trojan.
Yes, GG, sir.
Well, thank you, appreciate it. I knew I was up against fierce competition in this one, and we were pretty even, so I'm just really happy that I won.
Yeah, you guys made a really great race out of it, and took two very different routes. It'll be interesting if you look back and watch this. This was a very fun seed, it seems like.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm always a man of, if I can go complete Swamp Palace early, especially when it's kind of just throwing it at me super early, I'll just go do it. And based on where I saw the other stuff in the rest of seed, you could have totally like done Turtle Rock like early, if you would have just routed in Graveyard Ledge. Like there was no reason why something else could have been, you know, go mode in that seed.
Oh, for sure, especially with the Quake Medallion always just sitting there being ominous on Lumberjack Cave.
Yeah. I saw that there because I always go Lumberjack early, and in the back of my mind, as soon as I got Tines Mitts, I was like, all right, I should probably route in Dark Death Mountain and go and open that portal when possible, just so I know that when I find this ice rod, I am actually in go mode, and I don't have to kill Aga.
Which came very late when we finally actually got to check it, so it was something you had to remember for quite a while.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I don't really use pen and paper. Like, I have my tracker and stuff, so if I know that there's something that could possibly be there, I just, like, don't check it off. So I know when I look back at it, it'll remind me that, oh, yeah, you know, Quake was there, or some other item was some other ungettable location.
And I think I'm going to try to get Matt in here if he wants to, and then I'll announce the official time, just because we're so close and getting a lot of things going. So let's see what we can do here.
How good did it feel to find that flute in Eastern right away?
Oh man, dude! I when I got that early, I was like, oh, this made this so worth it, because I tasted something was like right as I got bow and dam. I was like, there's a reason they're giving us bow and being able to complete it this early. So I just went and did it, and I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, and as we might hear from Matt here, he skipped on Eastern for a long time, so it wound up not actually mattering because the race was very close, but it was very interesting you having and him not, the different routes you took around the world.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious, like, how early did he actually get Ice Rod?
That was the difference in the run. He dipped Turtle Rock before finding it, hoping it was in there.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a big dip. I mean, I'd say it's a. Yeah, I think in the older logic, like the V25 V26 V27 logic, I think that's a more reasonable play. But I think now it's just how common I've been finding stuff in the overworlds. I've been viewing a Turtle Rock dip less and less and holding it off till the end, if possible.
Yeah, I'm very curious to get his thoughts on that. The question for you, where do you think Buttersword was? If you had to guess.
If I had to guess, probably one of the other two chests at the start of Thieves Town.
Digging game.
Oh yeah, I never routed that in because I never went over there. Okay, that's fair. That's fantastic, actually. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't often see a whole lot pop up in Digging Game, and then when we saw Buttersword, it was like, oh hey, looky here.
You just don't go through seeds and like never go to the south part of Grove, like Digging Game, Mirror Spot, and Stumpy. Like, I didn't even think of that because I never wanted to go over there.
And nothing ever pushed you there either. That was the fun part.
Yeah, I thought about it for a second. I thought about, like, after I went to go check Hype Cave, there was a moment where I was like, all right, should I go over to Stumpy and Mirror Spot and Dig Game before going to Swamp Palace? And I was like, nah, I got Master Sword, oh wait, no, I had already got Tempered at that point. But yeah, so I got that, and I was like, it'll be fine. I have a lot of progression in front of me. Let's just do other stuff.
Yeah, you definitely didn't need it, but it was just funny how, like, it's so uncommon, I think, to not have to go down that direction the way you didn't in this seed. And it wound up having something that matters. It's just kind of funny.
We should be getting Matt in here in a minute or two here. We're just trying to work out a thing or two here, so he should be here shortly.
By the way, I don't know if you could tell in the Ganon fight, but in that last phase, my heart was pumping. I completely botched like 5 of those spins at the start.
I mean, really, once you kind of got into the rhythm of it, though, it looked pretty smooth. There was like you said, a couple of misses at first, but it looked pretty clean by the end of it.
Yeah, like once I got my rhythm, I was fine. But as I was going through the phase of Ganon, I still didn't see him done. I was like, oh my god, I'm on sick pace right now. Just please let me just do this last phase.
Is that when the safety potion came into play, just to kind of take a breath and calm down? Because I think it went pretty good after that.
Yeah, there was a point where I was like, okay, I'm 2 hits away from dying right now, so I'm not going to risk it, and I'm just going to use the pot now. And then, yeah, it did actually help me calm down a tiny bit.
So I'm just going to jump in and say, since we're having a little bit of a tricky thing here, the official speed gaming time for Trojan was 1:40.26, and the official time for Matt was 1:42.47. So just about 2-minute difference right there.
And just to show how different your routing was, you completed Thieves Town 6, and I think if I remember right, he completed it second.
Yeah, that's honestly not very surprising. I put, with the stuff that we had early and how easily we could clear Swamp and Pod, I never felt like I needed to go over there. And then once I got Titan's Mitts, I was like, well, I have less reason to go over there now because I've got so much else that's open. I'm looking back on the way I routed, I'm really glad I didn't dip into to Desert, because that would have made this even way closer. Like, I thought about it and I was like, I could dip into Green Pennant, but I have this other stuff I can do. Let's wait. I'm so glad I didn't do that.
Especially because you were right there with Meyer too. Like, it would have been so easy to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Normally I would, but I was like feeling, okay, I don't have boots right now, and I really want to just get the info first of what I need, because if it's just Ice Rod, I won't be more aggressive in my checks.
We were hoping to find the book so you could check the pedestal. Because of that Ice Rod hiding so long, the pedestal hype was it wouldn't go away. So it was kind of tense watching you guys run around and not find it. Since you were doing so many different things, we knew there wasn't many places it could be.
Yeah, and I felt like on an Ice Rod troll index that was probably only like a 4 out of 10, because that actually was a pretty reasonable spot for it to be. Like, I think the worst spot in that seed would have probably been Ice Palace. Just because there was literally no reason to ever go to Ice Palace with how everything shook up. So if it would have ended up being there, that would have probably been the last place I would have checked.
Fitting yet ironic.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the one thing about the Ice Rod, it can be just about anywhere. So it could have easily been a Pendant Dungeon dip.
And your collection rates are pretty much equal 149 to 152. So yeah, you guys did a lot of the same things even too, just in a very different order.
Yep, very much so.
Yeah, we saw a lot of really good execution too, because it seemed like you both have been really practicing your moves there.
Yeah, like that was one thing. I've normally in the past, I haven't really looked at my opponents all too much. I kind of just do my thing. But now that I'm getting like crunch time and I'm getting to a place where it's around my skill level, I wanted to see like how execution wise, and I thought we were essentially equivalent. I didn't see like any kind of strength or weaknesses as far as execution is concerned between the two of us.
Yeah, you both made the game look very, very easy. It was a treat to watch you play through it. So how do you feel being 3-2 now, dodging the first of the elimination or rubber matches, if you will?
It's only going to get harder from here. Like, I know in a bunch of these 3-in-1 matches and 4-in-1 matches that have been shaking out, there's going to be just as good of competition that's going to come out of those. I need to do that performance like twice times over in a row again. Like, I can't do anything short of that in order to get those last 2 wins.
Yeah, it was pretty mistake-free run in terms of routing and in terms of execution. It was very well done.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So is there anything you would change after playing through it that you would route differently? Yeah, that you did and said, oh, I should have done this in this order if I was, doing this optimally, or I could do it again?
I think the only thing is holding off Meyer until go mode. I think that's literally the only thing. I can't think of anything else. I felt like I routed that like incredibly efficiently. Just not, and I could have go moded Meyer. That's the only other thing. Nothing else I would change.
And even then, go mode Meyer isn't a huge gain just because, you know, it depends on where the big key is and how quick you find it. So it can save you some time, but it doesn't always save you a lot of time. But yeah, that's true. Being able to go mode it just would have made it that much faster.
Yeah, considering it was on the Broken Bridge chest, which is always the first chest I check in my route, like, I would have just zoomed. I would have saved probably 2.5 minutes on just Meyer alone.
Yeah, that would have put you down at 130. But even then, you know, you had a really good time at 140 and Matt at 142.
Dude, it's actually insane. Like, I've been in around like the high 140s, like to mid 150s, and like I haven't had a time this low. I was just like feeling it the whole time, and to get this time, I think that was partially why I was nervous during the Ganon. I'm like, well, if I just do like perfect execution, I'll easily get a sub 140, which I've never done. So I was like, that's probably why I was also like heart pounding way more than usual.
Well, let me be the first to say congrats on the PB then. I mean, sure, rando PB is rando PB, but it still feels good, especially to get it in a race like this.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, congratulate. I actually know the PB feels because before I came in to commentate, I actually did a run earlier and I got a new PB by 33 minutes. So definitely congratulations more to you though.
Yo, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. And congrats on yours. I saw it earlier. You're gonna like get another. You're gonna get like another 30-minute and get that like sub 2, man. It's gonna happen.
Thanks, man. Hopefully it'll be one of these days, but for now, this is totally your victory. I mean, bask in it, dude.
Thanks.
So we're so
and also GG to Matt as well. Like, I mean, him, like, pretty much played as I expected, and I'm glad it was such a great race.
Yeah, he had some really good spot-on moves as well. I mean, I was really impressed with his execution there, too. So you had, if it wasn't for that double dip and a turtle rock, this would have been, like, super incredibly too close to call tight. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better run from you two. So that was great. Thank you both.
Pleasure, and thank you guys for commentating, and also for Dark and Sky for tracking, and Cyclone for helping get us all set up. It's good stuff.
Yeah, they did a great job putting this all together and made commentating very stress-free, which is greatly appreciated on my end.
I think that Matt is not going to be able to join us at the moment. He is saying to me, though, that he hates the ice rod, and I'll see if I can relay any comments for him.
But just one final time, just so he sees it. Matt, good job. Great race. You played extremely well. Darn ice rod. But GG, sir.
Thank you.
And I gotta tell you, all right, so Matt won't be able to join us, but he says GG, and he hates ice rod, so I don't blame him. So with that, I think that does put a wrap up on it. Do you have any final comments you want to make, Inak?
I just want to say thank you, Rick, for commentating and putting up with me, and thanks to our restreamers and tracker and runners, and just for making a great experience. It was a really fun race tonight.
Fantastic, and Inak, it's been a pleasure to not only have called the previous run of yours, but to also be able to work with you in commentary. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Anytime.
And with that, I would like to give a gigantic shout out to Darkened Sky, our tracker, who's I've worked with him several times now, always does a fantastic job. Thank you. I want to thank Speed Gaming as well. If you want to give him a thank too, definitely give Speed Gaming 1 through 6 and ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4 a follow. We got lots more good matches to show you both tonight and for the rest of the week. We got lots of stuff to show next week too, so keep your eyes peeled. Plenty of randomizer action. I want to give a big shout out also to the chat. Without the chat, we would be nothing without you. Thank you so much. And with that, I want to wish you all a fantastic evening. Have a great day. Don't let the rando bugs bite. And it has been a pleasure. Thank you. Have a great evening, folks.